Kenyans, today I want us to have a conversation about an issue that is having a huge negative impact on our economy, and this issue is the rise in of dysfunctional and broken families in our country, which is breaking down the economy. And recent data reveals the grim reality of the changes in family structure in the country, and yet no one is talking about it. According to the 2019 National Census results, families headed by a single parent rose to 38% in 2019, up from 25.1% in 2009. And these statistics demonstrate a disheartening story that the fundamental pillar of the society and economy has rapidly worsened over the past decade. The situation could be even worse given the social media destructive impact on family and family values. Many people, especially young people, are leaving their marriages as a result of pure influence over the social media. There is this story I had that was aired on one of the top media houses in Kenya. I believe it was last year. And young women were saying that they don't want to get married. What all they want is to have children but stay single. This is the reality. Social media is destroying marriages, and actually, research has found excessive social media use contributes to poor marital relations, domestic violence, marital disputes, and higher divorce rates. And marriages also are on the receiving end due to the gaps in our migration policy. For instance, right now we are moving our young people, some of whom are married, to Arab countries in a move to address unemployment, the issue of unemployment. But what we fail to understand is that we may be creating bigger problems in this process. And some of the people moving to these countries are married, and they move and leave their spouses here. And when they stay, let's say they stay, they go and find jobs and they stay there like 2, 5, or 10 years. And when they return, they find their partners either moved on or they don't want to do anything with the relationship. So, and at the center of this chaos are the children, who are often neglected. The children, these children suffer a lot, including the psychological impact of divorce. Some don't receive quality education, and because they are neglected, they often end up in drugs, alcohol, or being engaged in crime. And this creates a foundation for the cycle of poverty to take root in these families. So let's now move to the impact of this issue on the economy. So I provide some data on how dysfunctional and broken families are affecting our economy and why we need to do something. According to a study conducted in the US, families headed by a single parent were found to have a relatively higher poverty rate compared to those headed by two parents. In addition, research also showed that fragmented families, which occur as a result of either non-marital childbearing, separation, or divorce, were associated with a higher incidence of child poverty. And another aspect is that the instability associated with these families, the dysfunctional and broken families, implies that the children are more likely to perform poorly in school, which affects or limit their economic productivity in adulthood. And consequently, and as a result of this, their contribution of adults, the contribution of adults raised in fragmented families to the national output, to our national output, and to the overall economic prosperity of our country is limited. So, furthermore, or so to move on, another part, dysfunctional and broken families are often associated with degradation of social norms, as indicated by the rise in gender-based violence toward women, teen pregnancy, child neglect, alcohol consumption, and the use of illicit drugs. And the children we have in our streets, and even the rise in alcohol use, alcohol abuse, especially uko central, is often associated with it's mainly attributed to dysfunctional and or broken families. You know, when people experience divorce or they have problems in their families, they tend to settle on drugs or alcohol as a way of dealing with the psychological impact of the whole experience. And with all these issues, the country is deprived of significant human capital. And those who work, their productivity is impaired. For instance, adults with severe alcohol use disorder often miss their jobs, and this reduces their ability to maintain stable employment, and our economy loses. And to make matters even worse, the social and economic cost of fragmented families are often passed down from one generation to the other. So, children in low income, fragmented families often find themselves trapped in the cycle of poverty, mainly because of limited resources and also lack of quality education. So, some of the examples examples of the negative impact of this issue on our economy are evident. We have seen big companies, big brands that have fallen due to conflicts between when married people separate or even siblings fighting over inheritance. And such situations often leave thousands of Kenyans jobless. And lastly, the degradation of the family institution may lead to a decline in our population in the future. And of course, we don't want to find ourselves facing the same crisis like Japan. You know, Japan currently have more older people than younger people because of the low birth rate in the past. And if we fail to do something about the current situation, we may end up facing the same crisis. The number of new births or our birth rate will reduce, and in future we will be having only few people who are working and more older people who can't work. And this will be catastrophic to our economy. We will not be able to compete with other countries, mainly because of limited labor supply. So, in the next part, I will discuss or I will cover why strong families matter, or the reason that we should support strong families and marriages. So, to understand the significance of strong families in our economy, we first need to look at the origin and the purpose of the family. So, in the book of Genesis, it's clear that families were created by God. The family institution was God's creation. So, in the beginning, God created man After creating Adam and putting him in the Garden of Eden, so God said in Genesis chapter 2, verse 18, it's not good, I'll quote, in quotes, it's not good that man should be alone. I'll make him a helper comparable to him. So from this passage, it's clear that God's plan for the family was that the man and woman, a man and a woman, should come together, work together, and assist each other, and in the process, they will achieve greater efficiency and productivity. So, why strong families matter? Strong married parent families are associated with better economic output. And in an earlier study, it was found that the median family income among married parent families rose by 30% compared to 14% among unmarried parents throughout the study period, the period of that study. And other evidence has shown that the higher the population, the proportion of married people in an economy or a country, the better the economic outcomes are, including higher GDP per capita, increased economic activity, and reduced levels of child poverty. So, the smooth functioning of the family is an important for the success of our society. And stable and healthy families also foster happiness, and this and ensures that children will be responsible and productive in future. So, what's the way forward now that we have seen the impact, both good and bad? So, for those concerned about the prosperity of our country in future, the rise in dysfunctional and broken families should no longer be ignored because of because the socio-economic consequences are so immense. So there are different measures that we can implement to solve this problem. First, our leaders our leaders need to consider the changing family structure in our national economic planning. Second, the church, the government, businesses, and non-profit organizations should work together to promote stable marriages and healthy relationships within families throughout the country. Third, married people or married couples and families should receive free resources and tools for conflict resolution, and these include marriage counseling to help married couples resolve their conflict and recover from this conflict, and marriage and their families can continue. And fourth, the government, in partnership with financial institutions, those include banks and other key stakeholders, should launch programs to improve financial literacy among married couples, especially low income families and young couples. And the goal of this program should be to ensure that these married couples, um, the goal of this program is to expose these married couples to investment opportunities while educating them on wealth management strategies. And lastly, the civil society should work toward promoting family values among our people, especially young people. Also, informing them about the importance of having a family, and this renewal of the family will definitely establish the foundation of the prosperity of our economy, both now and even in future. So that's all for me today. See you in the next